Hey everybody, this is Rodasi Campbell. Thank you so much for your time and attention. I'm really excited today to introduce you to someone I love and respect and admire so much, who is somebody I've walked the path of consciousness with for some years now. Her name is Maharani Ashaya. She's the author of the book Whole Ass. She is an Ashaya monk. She travels the world and teaches and is in service to our international organization, which is known as the Bright Path. You can check out that organization at thebrightpath.com. Maharani, welcome.
Hi, Rodasi. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Hey, where do we find Whole Ass at?
Well, right now you can find it at any of the online retails like Amazon or Barnes & Noble, Waterstones, depending where you are. You can just find anywhere they sell online books, and it's on pre-sale at the moment, but it comes out on the 26th. Interestingly, we are going ahead with it. So yeah, you can just get it on Kindle or paperback.
That's awesome. I can't wait to get my hands on it. So you are currently in Mexico, which is where you're from.
Yeah.
And you reside most of the time when you're not traveling and teaching and being of service as a translator. And in other ways, you live in Spain.
Yes.
And then you spend a little time in the UK as well, because you're engaged to this really dynamic, handsome man from Scotland.
I do. I
am. So you are you're in a unique position, Maharani. We're going to talk about consciousness today, but and maybe tools to awaken consciousness, to awaken to our natural state, or however you want to say that. We're going to talk about what the point is of Whole Ass, what that means. And I'm really excited about that, because you're an inspiration to me, for me, to live that way. And, you know, whatever else we talk about here as concisely as possible in this time that we have together. But could you just begin to talk about how you and I come to be here right now? You know, why you and I happen to be two human beings who had this maybe insatiable desire for more, and how that led the course of your life to this moment as succinctly as possible.
Okay, succinct is not one of my strengths, but I will try to do this. I always felt in my life since I was like a little girl that something was not making sense. Like there was a piece of the puzzle missing. There was something missing that just didn't complete the picture for me. And I learned, you know, about human life, and I learned what you have to do, and you have to get a job, and you have to get married, and you have to pay bills, you have to die. And for me, that was not enough. And so I was 19, I left, I tried different schools, different cities, different countries, different things to do, different ways of living, because I was trying to find that thing that made sense, you know, and my attempt for freedom was on the outside. Like I need to be free, no commitments, no nothing, just freedom. But still I was not complete. I still felt something was missing. And so through the grace of divinity, or through chance, however you call it, I started running into spiritual things or message that it was like the freedom is within, truth is within, everything that we are searching for, it's within, and it's accessible now. And it just made sense to me. And I had some like tests, you know, I could try it here and there, and I could experience that freedom, I could experience that peace, that no matter what was going on, I was just kind of at ease. But I couldn't keep it. You know, it would just last minutes, seconds, maybe a day. And it was dependent of something external that had happened. And then I met the Ishayas, you know, which all I heard was this group of monks coming to the city, and they're going to teach you this meditation, and they talk about freedom, it's closer than your next breath. And I thought, well, that's amazing. And I would like to meet some monks, you know, because I'm from like a middle-sized city in Mexico, and monks is not like a common thing. And then I went to the course, And it was this like two super normal women, and I'm like, where are the monks, you know, where I like shaved head and kind of, it was nothing like I imagined, but they had a spark. They had something I wanted, and I identified that that's what I'm looking for. So I learned to meditate, and then there's the same meditation that you do, you know, it's called Ishaya's Ascension, and I loved it. It kept giving me more peace, more sense, more meaning, more purpose to my life. It started kind of making it so easy to get away from the drama of my head, which was really, really big. And then I decided to commit to it and dedicate my life to it. And that's when I met you. And we, you know, we've shared a lot, and then for me, it's just the piece of the puzzle, you know, the cherry on the cake, what that makes everything just make sense. And after that, I've been teaching for 10 years. I've traveled a lot. I've had a life out of what I thought I was going to have. And, you know, and I never thought I was going to have a normal life, but I thought I was going to be a movie star, and I was going to have like millions of dollars and Hollywood mansions. That was my dream, you know, and have like 400 boyfriends and be a rock star. And it really does not look like that. But it's the best thing, you know. I would not change an inch of my life, and I always feel I have a manager, like a higher power manager, that always kind of helps me so much through anything, and I think that higher powers are available for everybody, you know. That's my nutshell.
Oh my gosh, I missed you. Yeah, so one of the things that I was rereading your bio, it's talking about passion, which is absolutely a word that I associate with you, a quality that I associate with you. You are an ass-kicking, truth-telling, passionate person. And one of the last times I saw you being so authentic and real about the places that you saw that you could still surrender and let go and be held by God, basically. And I will never forget that, because I've had so many moments with you where I've just been in awe and respected you, whether it was you telling me the truth about something you saw in me, or sharing your experience, or just watching how you live your life. But could you talk about the importance of being authentic on this path? Because on the path of awakening, on the path of passion, on a path of living whole-assed, because I think that there's a very huge misconception, at the very least I had, that in order to find peace, like passion somehow is dampened. In order to know this something more, it either has to look really glamorous in the way I think it does, or like somehow peace is not, it's separate from aliveness. I had this strange idea that I needed to be cookie cutter like. And I just wonder if you could talk about your journey with that, your experience of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm so glad you brought this up, because I see a lot of people that have that misconception that peace or spirituality needs to look a certain way and needs to be all about kind of, you know, like this unmovable expression that doesn't have a life. But it's never been my experience, and I've encountered that many times when I was like, well, I'm still loud and I'm still intense and I still have a lot of energy running through my veins, and then it means I'm not at peace, I'm not still, or, you know, I'm not experiencing this heightened sense of consciousness. But it's nothing further from the truth. We all have expressions, and sometimes, you know, to be honest, I wish we wouldn't talk about peace referring ourselves to the word peace, because it's so confusing. Because the peace you talk about and the peace I talk about, it's not the absence of emotion, it's not the absence of energy, you know, it's this absolute quietness and stillness that it's beyond anything that's been created in front of us, applying it to our bodies as well, right? So it's so important to be authentic, because you can't just kind of skip steps in your spiritual path. And what I've seen many times with people that are trying to be spiritual is that they try to apply concepts that they hear and try to live by them. and they're not expressing the reality of what they're going through inside. So the universe can't help them. So instead of saying, dude, I'm having such a bad time right now with this, I don't understand it, I'm angry, you go, oh no, everything is so perfect and it's good. But inside, you're not. And then the universe can't give you a hand. So you gotta be yourself. You know, you gotta be authentic, you gotta be real. Because the spiritual world is not only open to those who are quiet in their voice, you know, the spirituality is everything. And we need all sorts of people. So I love the fact that these paradigms are being broken, and that passion, it's stopped being anti-spiritual, you know? I don't know if I answered all your questions, but.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for sure, you spoke to a dynamic that exists that I think is a big roadblock for people. You know, the fear of letting go into that still silent experience, or not even understanding, not even having a good tool or a good understanding, a good experience of, like, we're not talking about the facade of peace. We're not talking about the absence of aliveness. We're not talking about the absence of passion. We're talking about something that's beyond that. And unless you have a good tool to take you into that experience and guidance, at least for me, I know people fall into that experience all the time, but they don't know how to get back there. They don't know how to choose for it at will. Joseph Campbell said to follow your bliss. That's how you really, truly find aliveness. And Maharani, at one time, I thought that sounded really cool, but I felt like following my bliss was taking me running around in circles. You know, I felt like I couldn't discern, you know, I couldn't discern the voice in my head of all my desires and the voice in my heart, that pulling forward. And then when I started to be able to hear that voice of my heart, I felt like I needed to stay super still and super, like, you know, like I can't move outside of this or I might lose this. And I mean, I remember very clearly you calling me into more, you know, just like, let go, you know, just let go. There's a facade here, you know. I mean, you didn't say it like that, but it was so helpful to me to, like, let go and be real. Yeah. So first of all, people, I mean, maybe passion is a path for sure. And it's an important one for people who are spiritually seeking and, like, filled with concepts, but they have this quiet sense that they know they're missing something, but they're scared to even admit that they're missing something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's kind of how the whole topic of the book started, because I know there's a lot of people out there, and I was like that at some point in my life, that it's like you just kind of settle, you know, you settle. Oh, I'm happy, I have everything I need, and I'm spiritual enough, and I have these little things. But inside there's still this voice, this fire or whatever, saying, you gotta, that's not true, you know, there's more for you. And I think connecting that, I think it's necessary right now that we tell people that there is more. You know, there is more for us. There is more for everybody. And it's not in a selfish way, oh, there's more for you. There's more abundance and millions and love. Because it's been a lot of years about that. What I've seen out in the world is like, create a life for you. And it's not what we need, I feel. It's create an amazing life. There's more for you, so you can give more, so you can serve more, you know, because we're all trying to do the world a better place, but we come from a place of lack. So if we're not even, we don't have our eyes open enough to recognize how much there is available for us, then we can't see how much there is available for the world at the moment, right? So, yeah.
So when you talk about the inner fire, and I don't know if you said this or if I read this, but you were talking about how to be the new human who's able to serve, you know, not just from concepts and not just talking the part and like trying to look the part, but like deeply embodying something to be that kind of human who has actually something to give. Can you talk about that? Does that
Yeah, I mean, sorry, go on.
yeah, just wondered if that made sense.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I feel as a generally speaking, I'm not speaking specifics here, but generally speaking, as a whole, humanity, we become numb. You know, our senses are numb. We're numbing ourselves, like with television, phones, alcohol, anything you want to do. It's been designed to numb ourselves and to get into this comfort where we're like consuming, 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 consuming. Great. I love television. I love a glass of wine. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it's been designed to numb. We've become accustomed to just be comfortable. Obviously, right now, the world's kicking our ass, which I actually think is a great thing. And please don't get me wrong, I don't think it's a great thing what's happening in certain countries and the potential that can happen. But I think there's a big opportunity as humans to create a different life and come up as a different human being. And that's been like the proposition is like a human being that is actually trying to do something good for the world from a space of perfection, from a space of consciousness, a space of spirituality, not from a place of this world sucks and we need to do this, but from a place of I am the agent of change and I'm happy and content and complete and spiritual, and therefore that's what I'm going to give back to the world. You know, I think it's time we all get in our right place and do this, you know.
So for you, what is the difference between being whole-assed and not?
The difference between being whole ass and not, I think it's as long as we're identified with our minds, we'll be half-assed, because our minds make us be half-assed. You know, whole ass is being, I mean, of course you got to read the book to know all that whole ass is, right? But whole ass is being full on inside and outside. And what makes us half-assed, and I have a chapter that is called ass types, so you can find your ass type, you know. Which I actually give, well, I mean, the book's coming out, but I haven't give it away for free if you sign to my newsletter. But it's you can find your ass type, and your ass type is basically to see what things you do to be half-assed. Because you might think you're super whole ass because you do this and you work and you give and you have this, but you might discover that there's certain things you stop yourself from doing. Because fear of what other people will say, or thinking you know it all, or making everything about you. You know, there's all these different ways that we limit at least one aspect of our life.
You know what? That's really great. I was just talking to our friend Rajani about the way that the mind will say, I know, I already know, or I'm right, you know, which I'm really familiar with. And how much that can choke off the magic of the moment, choke off the inspiration to do something. And I've had for so long impulses to do certain things like this, and listen to the voice in my head that said, I'm not, you know, this isn't perfect enough, or this isn't quite the right thing. It's not going to be as glamorous or as perfect or whatever as like what, I don't know what. And just all of a sudden, something in me was like, this is your life. Like, what are you waiting for? I don't know where that came from. Maybe it was closing my eyes enough over the last 20 years, but I finally saw that, like I was waiting. And I'm probably still, as I have not totally transcended the habit of paying attention to my mind, that I probably still am waiting in some ways. But it's so beautiful to be like, hell yeah, this is enlivening. Like, I'm going for it, you know?
Yeah.
Can you talk about a change like that, or an awareness like that you've had, or that you've seen in other people, and how important that is and living whole ass.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have those once a week, you know. I sometimes, you know, I have like, you know, imposter syndrome. I think I'm like faking it. Like, I'm like, why am I writing a book about whole ass if I'm not doing what I'm came here to do or whatever? I do, you know, it's never about not having those thoughts. And sometimes I've needed to be dragged, and I do talk about that in the book as well, but because I know I need help. If I didn't have help to finish the book, I wouldn't have finished it, because that's one of my weak points, you know? So I totally lost the train of thought right here.
Well, I'm not sure, but I was talking about how important it, yeah, I lost it too.
About being ready. Yeah, I remember. So
oh, yeah.
so one of the things is like recognizing where you need help, you know, but becoming aware of those little things, like you say, you know, like I've had so many times when I become aware, it's like there's a thought stopping me from doing this, you know, like even just yesterday I've been debating if I should launch the book or not, you know, because it's not the perfect time, because it doesn't look as glamorous, because it's not, the whole world is not going to pay attention to me as if anybody knew me. You know what I mean? It's all these things in our head trying to find the excuses not to do something. And in one of the chapters, it's called, I'm excuse the language, but it's called Dare to Fuck Up, which means basically we're always trying to make things perfect before we try them. And that's like a recipe for the failure in life, because we don't know what perfect look like, you know? We have this, as you say so perfectly, this glamorous idea that you don't even know where it came from. I have that every day in my life where I not wanting to do something, and then it's like, what's stopping me? I was terrified of videos on Instagram and whatever, and I know I can do it. I know I can serve that way, and I've postponed it for what, a year? And the other day I just grabbed it and started doing it, because I thought that I saw that thought, what am I waiting for? You know, we all have this judgmental voice inside and this public that doesn't even exist. So I think those aha moments, you gotta be bold and take them. Once you have them, be honest with yourself and say, oh, I've been procrastinating, I've been afraid, change it now, you know?
Maharani, how you said to know that, you know, to know these things about yourself, to be present enough to notice that the thought is there and it's stopping you, are important. And also to know we have people that we can ask around us and say, like, I need help, whether it's some kind of practical application help, like how do I do the video thing, or how do I finish the book, or if it's just like accountability, like, hey, I this is really attractive for me to stay in this little comfort zone here. So can you talk about that, about asking for, like, surrounding yourself with the right help, or has it been like that for you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've been so blessed all the way. I think the more open for help we are, the better the quality of the help, if that makes any sense. We've been taught to do things on our own, and we've been taught that if I do it on my own, it's got more power. It's worth more, you know? If you have help, maybe you don't get that many points, but you're doing it on your own, you have all the points in the world. And as you know, the world's showing us right now is that that's not true. We can't do it on our own. And what other people does impact us, and what we do impacts others. Help is so important. And about surrounding ourselves with the right people, I think we're always surrounded with the right people in the moment. It doesn't mean they're going to give you the best advice, but it may give you the shitty advice you need to hear to say, no, I deserve better than that. And then you move on and find the right people, right? But because because one of the spiritual misconceptions is the universe is your mirror, and we can take it, not always, but we can take it literally. But they gave me that advice, that's the correct advice. My universe is speaking to me. And sometimes it's the opposite, because it brings up, like higher standards for yourself, and then you get a different type of message. So I believe the more open we are for help, the quicker and better quality of help will arrive.
That's really powerful. I can relate to being a person who for a time took on the concept, for maybe a long time, took on the concept that everything around me is telling me the truth, and this is what I need to live. And then like, just, why am I not getting anywhere? And sometimes I have to reach out to people who would be like you, for example. I know you're going to tell me the truth, and when somebody around me who doesn't have the same experience of life, the same experience of the present moment that you do, maybe not the same ability to express so clearly, they might tell me what I want to hear instead of what I need to hear. And so just getting into some different practices, I have access to people all over the world that can help. And I can relate to something comes at us and it's like helps us to raise our standard, because like, no, this doesn't resonate. Like I can't stay here anymore. Thank you.
Sorry, but I don't think only conscious people will give clear advice, or people with certain practices, because I've seen that a lot in our community and in other spiritual communities, that there's some sort of, and I'm not saying this but it just reminded me when you were saying it, like there's some sort of arrogance thinking that people that practice spirituality are better. We know better, we're connected to God, or we're connected to divinity, and we're all connected to divinity. We are all connected to divine power. If you know it or not is a different thing, but and we all are sources of wisdom. I'm not saying everything that everybody says is wise. I'm saying that sometimes the best advice can come from the guy that's like packing your stuff in the supermarket, or the telemarketer that suddenly just said something. Like, we don't know where the right help or the right advice will come from. And so it's just an invitation to be open for help from anybody, and then see what happens. Sometimes really spiritual people say stupid things too, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know, I can be one of them sometimes.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, I'm one of them. I love that. And I've been hearing that more and more from people within our organization, more teachers saying, yeah, and that's my experience too. I'm in the recovery community, and I am in awe. I'm brought to my knees. I'm so humbled so much of the time, and people with lots of different backgrounds and lots of different experiences, of whatever they believe their spirituality to be or not be. Somebody who's just newly sober, for example, who has the most profound thing that can just completely shift the experience or be an answer that, like I just couldn't have seen it before that moment. I love that, because there is a conception, an idea that we can be, the mind can believe that we're better, that someone is better than someone else, more evolved than someone else.
Yeah.
Well, I want to know what advice you have for the world at this time. Anybody who would be listening, maybe who's new to, because my audience is a wide range of people. It's people who are seeking, people who feel like they've found something, and people who never really dabble in much spirituality per se, other than they they know me from the community or their family or something, but they're looking, they're paying attention. And you've said a lot of wonderful things, but practically, what are some things that, or a thing that you would recommend for people at this time, especially with the massive changes, people being asked to stay home and being fearful of staying well and feeling out of control? What might you have for those folks?
Well, first, I'm going to talk in this case from a spiritual point of view. Obviously, I know there's a lot of people are struggling with life, practical stuff, you know, debts, money issues, food, stuff like that. I'm just sending all the love I can and helping in any way I can to support those kinds of things if it's in my hands, you know. But if we are in the range of normality, like we have a shelter, we have food, we're not sick, nobody in our homes are sick, we're just at home trapped, which I know it still sucks. That's the type of people, that's the people I want to talk to. Expect shit to come up in your head. If you don't have a meditation practice, it's very possible that you're gonna start to be faced with all the things you've denied in the past. You know, your mind can go crazy, your emotions can go crazy. Things that you thought you've resolved in therapy or just in the past might come up. Why? Because you're stopping. And the moment we stop, things can come up. And then what I want to say, because I can't come and teach you meditation right now, is do not believe the content of your thoughts. As best as you can, do not believe your mind. You don't have time right now to get into existential crises or feeling depressed or feeling anxious, because we need to learn to take care of ourselves, you know, our mental health, our spiritual health. Seek out, find, you know, I know you share some meditations, Rodasi. I know you do some guided stuff, and there's a lot of people out there that are helping that way. Do whatever you can to be at peace. You know, use this time to nurture yourself. Stop watching the news 24/7. That's just creating panic. I know I started doing it, and nothing is happening around me, and I was already in panic. So be informed, but stop watching the news. You know, our teacher just sent us this message, and it said, don't give into the chaos. So if you eat chaos, you're going to experience chaos. Fill yourself with good books, good podcasts, whatever it is you can that makes your heart sing and that makes you feel at peace. I can't tell you what that is, because, you know, we have different things, but it's your choice which wolf, you know, that story about the wolf, which one wins. And, you know, it's a very quick story. It's this old native story, and it's this guy, I'm probably making up the characters, but it's this guy talking to this kid about, you know, inside each one of us, there's two wolves, you know, there's like the angry wolf, the violent wolf, and the good, happy wolf. And it's like, and they're always at war. And it's like, well, the kid is like, well, which one wins? And they say, and the dude says, whichever one you feed. And I think it's so appropriate right now, because whatever we feed will win. So feed love, feel joy, feel laughter, feed peace, and recognize how accountable you are right now in your household, and how responsible you are for the environment you create. So it's not just about you anymore. You know, if you're in struggle, if you're suffering, if you're going with the chaos of your mind, your kids are going to be affected, your partner's going to be affected, or whoever you're with. So your mental health or your spiritual peace, it's not about you right now. You know, you need to take a step up and do whatever you can to be at peace. I think that's it.
Whew. That's good stuff. Yeah, that's really beautiful, and it just speaks to the responsibility. Like, it goes back to what we were talking about before. Like, this is my life, you know, this is the life I've been given. this is the life we've been given, and these are the circumstances we've been blessed with, whether it feels that way or not. So thank you for the really loving and compassionate invitation to take responsibility for what's going down and the vibe that we're choosing to, what we're choosing to feed. I think that that's an awesome invitation. Thank you, Maharani.
Thank you.
Okay, so do you have your own website?
I do. I do. My website is.
Yeah, just tell everybody where all they can find you.
Well, my website is maharaниmonk.com. So Maharani, I don't know, M-A, well, I'm sure it's written down there somewhere. Maharanimonk.com, and all my handles are like that on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, wherever. You can find me as Maharani Monk. And you can talk to me.
Awesome. Yeah. So, and I would encourage everybody to go look up Maharani Monk, and I will have that in the notes and wherever this is posted. So explore, take a risk, and connect. All of the people I interview are accessible. They're available, and feel free if you feel compelled to reach out to them. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time and attention. I know you have some other cool things that you're getting into today, Maharani. I just love and appreciate you so much.
No, I love you too, Rodasi. This has been awesome. Thank you for giving me the space to share and connect with people. This is amazing. You're doing a great job.
Thank you. Give my love to your Scottishman and the community there, whoever you're around. And thank you for all your service. I'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.